Ernie McMillan broke a bottle of prune juice and a watermelon at the OK supermarket, so a Dallas jury gave him 10 years.
I had been in the county jail before in '68, and that was one of my first experiences with jail during the Dallas struggle. And I was repeatedly, along with the other members of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, continually and repeatedly arrested. So like that was one experience, but like prison is another experience altogether. You know, you're stripped physically and you're stripped mentally and you're stripped psychologically. You know, and I think it does one of three things to people. You know, and it either makes them hardened, more perfect criminals, or it destroys a person. You know, they see themselves as having no worth, dependent upon others for making decisions, the most simple kind. And actually, you find that some men are destroyed to the point where they see that prison is their home. They have no life anywhere else, you know. And for others, there's the other alternative. It makes them stronger, and it makes them more resolute.
Ernie McMillan spent a total of 3 years and a few weeks in prison, serving 1 year of a 3-year federal sentence for failure to appear in court, and 2 years of that 10-year sentence he received on state charges for destruction of private property. He was released on parole a week before Christmas, 1974, and on January 2, 1975, he began working for State Representative.
I hired him really for two reasons. First, because I felt like he had the ability to accomplish the things that I'd like him to accomplish in working with me. And secondly, because I am starting a crime fight program of which I would be encouraging business people to hire ex-offenders. And I would not want to do that without being willing to do the same myself. I was aware of his presence in Dallas back in the 60s, but I had not met him personally. I've met him for the first time in the Department of Corrections at the Retrieve Unit.
And we recognize that our interests are diametrically opposed to the interests of the power structure. Therefore, we're serious, and we recognize that the power structure is serious. And we recognize that we're talking about life and the life of our children and our future generations. So we recognize that a lot is at stake. And we fight, you know, we're fighting on as many levels as we can fight, and that we see that we can advance the struggle some.
He will be doing a number of things. He will be officially labeled as a field assistant. He's working with some community groups. He's going to be working very closely with my crime fight program, which involves attempting to prevent crime through youth groups and working to make contact with some senior citizens that are not able to get to my office and some community problems that I won't be on the scene at all times to go personally and see about.
As field secretary for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Dallas, McMillan had expected to be hassled by local, state, and federal authorities.
The community atmosphere at that time, and I'm speaking of the whole general metropolitan area of Dallas, and not only even Dallas, but the national atmosphere too. As you remember, '68, there was widespread riots across the country. Martin Luther King had been assassinated. The Kennedys had been assassinated. There was a beginning an influx of drugs in the community on a scale never before seen in this society before. The whole term Black Power was new to people, you know, and it was new to people to see Black people being aggressive and demanding their rights. So I think this uncertainty and this sort of change in the country and this fear was sort of a reaction developed, you know, and this reaction developed to find the scapegoat, to find the enemy, to find the persons among us who are causing all this trouble. And the victim in the 30s in Germany was the Jews, and in America in the 60s, it was Black people and Black militants and Black progressives and Black freedom-loving peoples. It wasn't a paranoia either. It was something very real because we were being stopped. When I say we, I mean the members of SNCC were being stopped by police every day for the most trite charges, the most transparent of excuses. I was arrested at one time on federal charge of draft evasion and another time for possession of a firearm. Knowingly, I believed that it wouldn't stick, but this would be some way they could put us in jail to make us pay bond, to make us get lawyers, to tie us up, to keep us off balance, this sort of strategy that they had in mind. And it was a very effective one.
There might be a possibility of repercussions. I think in my line of work that practically every decision I make, some people would have some questions about it. I would hope that at all times the majority of the people would support decisions that I make based upon lots of thought.
I'm striving to be a person who deals with life in a real way, you know, and rather in a way that I would like life to be, but try to recognize life for what it is and recognize that it has goodness and it has badness, and then try to resolve these things in the most radical way, you know, in a root way.